Hey everyone, my name is Michael Carter. I'm 37 years old, and I work in IT as a software engineer for a tech firm based out of Dallas. Life in Plano, Texas, has always felt pretty steady for me. Quiet suburbs, friendly neighbors, and that sense of security you get in a place like Willow Bend, our upscale neighborhood just north of the city. It's the kind of area where homes are spacious, lawns are manicured, and folks wave as they jog by Legacy Park nearby. Claire and I bought our house here 5 years ago, right after we got married. It's a two-story colonial on a cul-de-sac with a big backyard that backs up to the neighbor's fence. We share a wall with the Millers, Ryan and Hannah, who've been there longer than us. Ryan's some sort of real estate consultant, always flashing that confident smile at block parties, and Hannah's a teacher, sweet as can be. Claire, my wife, she's 34, with this infectious energy that drew me in from day one. We met at a tech conference in Austin back in our 20s. She's a marketing consultant now, working freelance from home most days. Our life together seemed perfect. Weekend brunches at the Biscuit Bar downtown, evening walks along the trails at Arbor Hills Nature Preserve, and lazy Sundays binge-watching shows. But looking back, I guess perfection is just a facade sometimes. It started small, these little cracks I didn't notice at first. It was about 6 months ago when things began to feel off. I'd be in my home office upstairs, debugging code late into the evening. My job often keeps me glued to the screen until 10 or 11 p.m. Claire would say goodnight early, claiming she was exhausted from client calls. But then, around midnight, I'd hear it, muffled laughter drifting through the shared wall with the Miller's house. At first, I brushed it off as them having friends over or watching a movie too loud. Plano's quiet at night, so sounds carry easily in these older builds. But the voices, they had this intimate tone, like whispers mixed with giggles that didn't belong to a casual gathering. One Tuesday night, I was wrapping up a project, sipping coffee to stay alert. Claire had gone to bed hours earlier, or so I thought. She mentioned running errands earlier, picking up groceries at the Market Street on Coit Road, but she seemed distracted when she got back. I didn't think much of it. As I powered down my computer, the sound started again, a low murmur, then a burst of laughter. I pressed my ear against the wall in our bedroom, curiosity getting the better of me. The voices were clearer this time, a man's deep chuckle, familiar like Ryan's, and then a woman's voice, light and playful. My heart skipped. It sounded just like Claire. No, it couldn't be. I told myself it was my imagination, the fatigue playing tricks. But there it was again, her distinctive laugh, the one that crinkles her eyes when she's truly amused. I froze, staring at the wall as if it could explain itself. Why would her voice be coming from next door? She was supposed to be asleep in our bed. Quietly, I crept downstairs and checked the garage. Her car was there. But the back door was unlocked, which was unusual. My mind raced. Maybe she slipped out for a late-night chat? Or was it something more? That night, sleep didn't come easy. I lay there, replaying the sounds, feeling this gnawing unease settle in my chest. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of uncovering a betrayal that would shatter everything I thought I knew. It wasn't just a sound through the wall. It was the echo of a secret life, one that would test my patience and turn me into a reluctant detective in my own home. Stick around, because what came next? It only got more twisted. It was a Thursday night, about a week after that first odd moment. I was deep in a cloud migration project, my office lit by the blue glow of my monitor. Claire had gone to bed early, around 9 p.m., saying she was drained from a day of back-to-back Zoom calls with a new client from Dallas. I heard her head upstairs, the familiar creak of our bed in our two-story colonial on this quiet cul-de-sac. Everything seemed normal until around 2 a.m. A low rumble snapped me out of my code. It was an engine idling outside. I peered through the blinds of my office window, which overlooks the street, and spotted a black Ford F-150 parked across from the Miller's house. It wasn't Ryan's Tesla or Hannah's Honda CR-V, both fixtures in the neighborhood. The truck's license plate was smeared with mud, almost like someone didn't want it read. In Plano, where people polish their cars like trophies, that was a red flag. I watched as a man stepped out, tall, broad, in a dark hoodie. He didn't ring the bell or walk to the front door. Instead, he moved swiftly to the side, disappearing toward the Miller's backyard gate. Their motion sensor light, which Ryan loves boasting about at our block parties at Russell Creek Park, didn't flicker. It felt deliberate, like this guy knew the lay of the land. My stomach churned. I grabbed my phone to text Claire, see if she was awake or heard anything weird. Her phone went straight to voicemail. Odd, since she always keeps it on for late-night client emails. That's when the unease really set in. I needed to know more. I slipped on my sneakers, grabbed a jacket, and stepped outside into the chilly night air. The cul-de-sac was dead quiet, just the hum of cicadas and the faint glow of streetlights. I walked toward the edge of our property, near the shared fence with the Millers, trying to catch that laugh again. The backyard was dark, but I heard it, a soft giggle, muffled, coming from their side. It sounded like Claire, but I couldn't be sure. I stood there for a good 10 minutes, straining to hear more, my breath fogging in the cool air. The truck was still there, engine off now, but no sign of the guy. I didn't want to trespass or make a scene, so I circled back to our house, my mind racing. When I got inside, I locked the back door, noticed it was unlatched, which wasn't like us, and crept upstairs to our bedroom. My heart was pounding as I pushed the door open. There was Claire, curled up in bed, her breathing slow and steady, like she'd been asleep for hours. Her phone was on the nightstand, screen dark. I stood there, watching her, trying to piece it together. Had she been here the whole time? Did I imagine the laugh? The truck, the muddy plates, the unlocked door, it all felt too strange to be a coincidence. I didn't wake her. Instead, I sat in my office until dawn, replaying every detail. Something was off in this perfect little corner of Plano, and I was determined to find out what. What I stumbled on next. It hit me like a freight train. The next few days, I kept things normal, or as normal as I could. Claire and I had breakfast at the original pancake house on Park Boulevard, our usual weekend spot. She was all smiles, talking about a new client pitch, her hazel eyes sparkling as she described landing a big contract. But something was off. Her laugh felt rehearsed, her glances at her phone too frequent. I played along, nodding, asking questions, but my mind was elsewhere, replaying that giggle through the wall, the muddy license plate, the unlatched back door. That Monday, I was working from home, debugging code in my upstairs office. Claire was out, supposedly at a coffee meeting at 1418 Coffee House in downtown Plano. Her laptop was on the kitchen counter, logged into our shared iCloud account. She'd been using it to sync her calendar. I don't make a habit of snooping, but something told me to check. I opened her messages, telling myself I was just confirming a dinner reservation for us at 60 Vines on Legacy Drive. That's when I saw it. A notification popped up, a text from an unsaved number. Leave the light on. I'll come through the back gate. My blood went cold. The message was time-stamped for 1 a.m. last night, when I was up late working and Claire was supposedly asleep. I clicked through, my hands shaking. The conversation was short but damning. A few flirty texts, vague plans about tonight, and that one line about the back gate. No name attached, but the pieces were falling into place. I took screenshots, saving them to a hidden folder on my phone. My IT brain kicked in. Back up the data, don't delete anything, stay calm. But inside, I was a mess. Was this why the back door was unlocked? Was she sneaking out to meet someone? I closed the laptop, my heart pounding like I'd just run the trails at Arbor Hills Nature Preserve. Claire came home an hour later, all breezy, carrying a to-go cup from 1418 Coffee House, chatting about her productive meeting. I nodded, forcing a smile, but my mind was screaming. Who's coming through the back gate? I thought of Ryan Miller next door, his deep chuckles, his overly friendly demeanor at neighborhood barbecues. Was it him? Or the guy from the truck? I didn't have enough yet to accuse her, and I didn't want to tip her off. If Claire was hiding something, she was good, too good. Her charm, her confidence, it was like she thrived on the thrill of keeping secrets. That night, I lay in bed next to her, staring at the ceiling, the weight of that text burning in my mind. I wasn't just hurt. I was angry. At her, at myself for not seeing it sooner. But I'm a patient guy. I'd play this smart, like debugging a complex system. I'd gather more evidence, watch her patterns, and figure out who was on the other side of that gate. What I found next pushed me to a place I never thought I'd go. It wasn't just about betrayal. It was about something bigger, something planned, and it was happening right here in the quiet streets of Plano. I decided to play it cool, like I was running an experiment. If Claire was sneaking around, she'd slip up eventually. She was too confident, too thrilled by the risk. So, I started what I called my observation phase. I kept a mental log, like a detective in one of those crime podcasts Claire loved listening to during her jogs at Oak Point Park. I even started jotting notes in a password-protected app on my phone. Times, behaviors, anything that felt off. It was Wednesday evening, and we were at home, cooking dinner together in our kitchen, the one we'd remodeled last year with quartz countertops from a shop on Spring Creek Parkway. Claire was chopping vegetables for a stir-fry, humming softly, her phone buzzing nonstop on the counter. I decided to test the waters. Over the sizzle of the wok, I tossed out a casual question. "Hey, you talked to Ryan lately? I saw him messing with his sprinklers yesterday at their place. Seemed like he was up to something in the backyard." I kept my tone light, watching her face. Claire's knife paused for a split second, barely noticeable, but I caught it. She laughed, a little too brightly. "Ryan? Nah, he's always tinkering with something. Probably showing off his latest smart home gadget." Her eyes stayed on the cutting board, avoiding mine. I pushed a bit further. "Yeah, he's got that fancy security system. Wonder if it catches everything going on back there." Her smile tightened, and she changed the subject, asking if I wanted to try a new wine bar, the Capitol Grill, for date night. That reaction was data point number one. She was nervous, deflecting. Over the next few days, I kept it up, dropping subtle questions about Ryan or the Millers during random moments, like when we grabbed coffee at Mudleaf Coffee on Coit Road or walked the dog around Gleneagles Park. Each time, Claire's responses were smooth but guarded, like she'd rehearsed them. Once, I mentioned hearing noises at night, saying I thought it was raccoons in the Miller's yard. Her face flushed, and she mumbled something about late-night deliveries before rushing off to a client call. My observation log was filling up. Her late-night phone silences, her sudden errands to places like the shops at Legacy, her quick glances at the back gate when she thought I wasn't looking. The more I watched, the more I saw Claire's double life taking shape. She wasn't just sneaking around. She was calculated, enjoying the thrill of it. But what was her endgame? Was it just an affair, or something bigger? I thought about Ryan, his charming grin at neighborhood cookouts, his real estate connections. Was he the guy in the texts? My mind went darker. Claire had access to my business accounts, my freelance IT contracts. We'd built a nice nest egg, and she'd been pushing lately to invest in some promising venture she wouldn't fully explain. Was she planning to bleed me dry with Ryan's help? The thought made my chest ache, but I buried it. I wasn't ready to face that kind of betrayal, not without proof that would hold up in my own court of logic. What I did next took things to a whole new level, and let me tell you, it was a game changer. I was playing detective, logging every detail in my encrypted app like I was cracking a case instead of my marriage. I'm an IT guy, so I'm used to chasing patterns, but this felt personal, like a virus infecting my home in Willow Bend. I knew I needed more than screenshots and hunches to confront Claire, especially since she was so good at covering her tracks. But then, fate, or maybe just dumb luck, threw me a lifeline. It was a Saturday morning, and I was out walking our dog, Max, around the trails at Arbor Hills Nature Preserve, a popular spot where Plano folks jog and push strollers under sprawling oaks. I was distracted, replaying Claire's latest excuse about a client dinner at Bulla Gastrobar on Legacy Drive, when I literally bumped into Hannah Miller, our neighbor. Hannah's 35, a kindergarten teacher with a warm smile and a knack for making everyone feel at ease. She was walking her own dog, a scruffy terrier named Biscuit, and we got to talking as the dogs sniffed each other. "Long week?" she asked, her eyes kind but tired. I nodded, keeping it vague, but something in her expression, tight, like she was holding back, made me pause. We sat on a bench near the preserve's observation tower, the dogs tugging at their leashes. I don't know what made me do it, but I took a chance. Hannah, you ever notice anything weird at your place? Like late at night? Her face froze, just for a second, before she looked down at Biscuit. What kind of weird? She asked, her voice cautious. I mentioned the noises I'd heard through the wall, keeping it light, like it was no big deal. But Hannah's eyes met mine, and I saw it, recognition. You hear things too, don't you? I said, lowering my voice. She hesitated, then nodded. Ryan's been off, she admitted. Late-night calls, work trips that don't add up. And our security system, it's been disabled a few times, like someone's messing with it. My heart raced. Hannah was seeing the same red flags, but from the other side of the wall. We started comparing notes, right there on that bench. She'd noticed Ryan sneaking out to the backyard, claiming he was checking the sprinklers at odd hours. She'd found receipts for dinners at places like Mexican Sugar, where he'd never taken her, and vague texts on his phone about meetings that sounded too personal. I didn't tell her about Claire's texts yet, but I shared enough. About the truck, the unlocked back door, the laughter. Her face paled. Michael, I think they're seeing each other, she whispered, her voice cracking. It hit me like a brick. Ryan and Claire. The charming neighbor and my charismatic wife. It made too much sense. Their flirty banter at block parties, the way Claire always seemed to know what Ryan was up to. But Hannah wasn't just hurt. She was angry, like me. I'm not letting him play me for a fool, she said, her usual softness replaced by steel. We made a pact right then. We'd get proof, together. Two betrayed spouses, teaming up like some suburban spy duo. Hannah suggested checking Ryan's office. He worked from home sometimes, and she knew his passwords. I offered my tech skills to dig deeper, maybe even set up surveillance. It was risky, but the thought of Claire and Ryan scheming, maybe even plotting to siphon off my business funds, or worse, lit a fire in me. What we uncovered next wasn't just proof of an affair. It was a bombshell that turned this personal betrayal into something far more sinister. Teaming up with Hannah Miller was a game-changer. Sitting on that bench at Arbor Hills Nature Preserve, we realized we were both living next to a lie. Claire and Ryan, our spouses, were likely sneaking around together. The laughter through the wall, the cryptic texts, the mysterious truck, it all pointed to a betrayal that cut deep. But Hannah and I weren't just hurt. We were done being played. I'm an IT guy, so I approach problems methodically, and Hannah's quiet strength made her the perfect partner in this suburban sting operation. We needed undeniable proof, something that would expose Claire and Ryan for what they were. What we did next, it was straight out of a thriller. Hannah suggested checking Ryan's home office for clues, but I knew we needed something more concrete, visual evidence. I'd worked on security systems for clients before, so I proposed setting up a hidden camera. Nothing fancy, just something discreet to catch what was happening in the Miller's backyard, where all the late-night action seemed to be. Hannah agreed, her eyes glinting with determination. We met the next day at Urban Rio Cantina and Grill on 15th Street for lunch, away from prying eyes, to plan it out. Over tacos, we hashed out the details. We'd use a small, motion-activated camera disguised as a garden light, the kind you'd see lining a path in any willow bin backyard. I ordered one from an electronics store on Preston Road. A Blink outdoor camera, easy to sync with my phone and blend into the scenery. That Friday, while Claire was out on another client meeting at the shops at Legacy and Ryan was supposedly at a real estate seminar in Dallas, Hannah let me into their backyard. We positioned the camera in a flower bed near the back gate, angled to capture anyone coming or going. It was hidden behind a cluster of lantana plants, completely invisible unless you knew where to look. I set it to record to a secure cloud drive I used for work backups, encrypted, of course. Hannah's hands shook as she adjusted the plants, but her voice was steady. If they're doing this, Michael, we'll catch them, and they won't see it coming. That night, I barely slept, my phone burning a hole in my pocket as I waited for the camera to pick up something. Claire was home, acting normal, suggesting we grab dinner at Haywire on Legacy Drive tomorrow. I played along, but my mind was on the footage. Around 1 a.m., my phone pinged, emotion alert. I locked myself in my office, heart pounding, and opened the app. The video was grainy but clear enough. Claire, in a dark jacket, slipped through our back gate and crossed into the miller's yard. Seconds later, Ryan appeared, meeting her near their patio. They didn't touch, but their body language, close, secretive, her laugh muffled as they whispered, said it all. They disappeared into the shadows near the miller's back door, out of the camera's range. The clip was short, but it was the smoking gun I'd been dreading. I sent the footage to Hannah, who texted back immediately. "This is them." "What now?" My chest ached, not just from the betrayal, but from what I'd started to suspect. Claire's recent push to invest our savings, her sudden interest in my freelance IT contracts, Ryan's real estate connections. It wasn't just an affair. They were planning something bigger, maybe siphoning off our money or worse. The camera gave us proof, but it also raised the stakes. Hannah and I weren't just catching cheaters. We were uncovering a scheme. What we planned next was risky, bold, and designed to blow their world apart. Trust me, you won't believe how this unfolds. That grainy footage from the hidden camera was a gut punch. Claire sneaking into the miller's backyard, meeting Ryan under the cover of night. It wasn't just an affair, it was deliberate, calculated, like they were playing a game and Hannah and I were the pawns. I'm an IT guy, so I'm used to solving problems with data, but this was personal, raw, and it hurt like hell. Sitting in my Willow Bend home, staring at my phone with that damning clip, I felt a mix of rage and heartbreak. But Hannah, she was fire. When I sent her the footage, her response was immediate. "We're not just catching them, Michael. We're going to make them regret this." And that's when she laid out a plan so bold, it could have been ripped from a movie. We met the next day at the boardwalk at Granite Park, a trendy spot near the lake where we could blend in with the brunch crowd. Over coffee and avocado toast at Union Bear, Hannah leaned in, her voice low but steady. "I've known Ryan's been hiding something for months," she said, her eyes sharp. "He's been moving money around, talking about some big deal with a new partner. I thought it was just his real estate schemes, but now I think Claire's in on it." My stomach dropped. Claire had been pushing me to liquidate part of my freelance IT business, claiming we could invest in a sure thing through a contact of hers. I'd brushed it off, but now it clicked. Ryan's real estate connections, Claire's access to our accounts. Were they planning to clean us out? Hannah's plan was simple but risky. We'd set a trap to catch them in the act, not just sneaking around, but exposing whatever scheme they were cooking up. She'd found emails on Ryan's laptop, ones he thought he'd deleted, about a joint venture with Claire, mentioning my business and some offshore account. The details were vague, but it was enough to make my blood run cold. Hannah proposed we fake a double absence. I'd tell Claire I was heading to a tech conference in Austin, and Hannah would tell Ryan she was visiting her sister in Houston. We'd both leave for the weekend, giving them a window to act, thinking they were alone. But we'd be watching, with the camera rolling and a few extra tricks up our sleeves. I added my own spin. Tech is my wheelhouse, after all. I'd install a second camera, this one inside our house, hidden in a smoke detector above the living room. It'd catch Claire if she brought Ryan over, which seemed likely given how bold they'd gotten. I also set up a script to monitor our joint accounts for any unusual transactions, syncing alerts to my phone. Hannah, meanwhile, would dig deeper into Ryan's files while he was out, looking for proof of their financial plot. We'd rendezvous at a hotel in Frisco, the Canopy by Hilton near Stonebrook Center, to review the footage and plan our next move. As we left Union Bear, Hannah grabbed my arm. "Michael, this isn't just about catching them cheating. They're trying to take everything, our money, our lives. We're going to ruin their game." Her resolve lit a spark in me. I wasn't just the betrayed husband anymore. I was part of a team, and we were about to turn the tables. That weekend, as I packed a fake suitcase and told Claire I'd be gone, her smile was too perfect, too relieved. I drove away, my heart heavy but my mind sharp. What we caught on those cameras, it wasn't just proof of their affair. It was a bombshell that exposed a plot so twisted, it'll leave you speechless. Hey, it's Michael Carter again, 37, and I'm still piecing together the unraveling of my life in Plano, Texas. Hannah and I had proof, grainy footage of Claire and Ryan meeting in the Miller's backyard, whispers of a joint venture that screamed betrayal beyond just an affair. My IT brain was in overdrive, suspecting they were after my business funds, maybe even our entire savings. Hannah's plan to fake our absence and catch them in the act was bold, and I was all in. We'd set up cameras, one in the Miller's yard and one in my living room, and I'd rigged alerts for our bank accounts. In Willow Bend, where life looks like a postcard, we were about to expose a plot that would shatter the illusion. It was Friday afternoon when I left for my fake tech conference in Austin. I packed a suitcase, kissed Claire goodbye in our kitchen, and drove off, her smile too bright as she waved from the porch. Hannah did the same, telling Ryan she was off to Houston to visit her sister. We didn't go far, just to the Canopy by Hilton in Frisco, near Stonebriar Center, where we'd monitor the cameras from my laptop. My phone was set to ping for any account activity, and Hannah had a burner phone to check Ryan's emails remotely. We were ready, but my heart was pounding. This wasn't just about catching them. It was about uncovering how deep their scheme went. That night, around 11 p.m., the backyard camera pinged. I opened the app in our hotel room, Hannah leaning over my shoulder. There they were, Claire and Ryan, slipping through the back gate into my backyard this time. They didn't stop to talk. They headed straight for our back door, using a key Claire must have kept unlocked. My stomach twisted. They were in my house. The indoor camera kicked in, showing them in our living room, Claire leading Ryan to my office. They weren't there for romance. They were rifling through my desk, pulling out files, and booting up my work laptop. Claire knew my passwords. I'd never hidden them from her. Hannah's face went pale. "They're after your contracts," she whispered. Then, my phone buzzed, a bank alert. Someone had initiated a transfer from our joint savings to an unfamiliar account, flagged as offshore. I froze, watching the live feed as Claire typed furiously on my laptop, Ryan hovering close, pointing at the screen. They were moving fast, thinking they had the weekend to cover their tracks. Hannah grabbed her phone, checking Ryan's emails. "Look at this," she said, showing me a message from Ryan to an unknown contact. "Carter's funds are secured. We'll transfer to the Caymans by Monday." My blood ran cold. They weren't just cheating, they were trying to drain my life's work. We didn't wait. Hannah and I drove back to Plano, pulling into our cul-de-sac by 1 a.m. The house was dark, but the cameras showed they were still inside. We crept through the back gate, hearts racing, and burst into the living room. Claire screamed, dropping a stack of my contract papers. Ryan spun around, his charming grin gone, replaced by a deer-in-headlights look. "Michael, it's not," Claire started, but I cut her off. "Save it. I've got it all on camera." Hannah stepped forward, her voice like steel. "And I've got your emails, Ryan. You're done." The air was thick with tension, their faces a mix of panic and guilt. They thought they'd outsmarted us, but we'd turned their game against them. What happened next? It was chaos, and it changed everything. The hidden cameras had done their job. Claire in my office, Ryan by her side, trying to siphon off my business funds to some offshore account. The evidence was ironclad. Footage, bank alerts, and Ryan's incriminating emails. In our Willow Bend home, where everything once felt safe, the air was electric with betrayal. My heart was pounding, not just from anger, but from the raw pain of seeing Claire, my wife of 5 years, unmasked as someone I didn't know. Claire's face went white as she dropped my contract papers, scattering them across the hardwood floor we'd picked out together at a showroom on Coit Road. Ryan stammered, his usual charm replaced by a panicked stutter. "Michael, Hannah, this is a misunderstanding," he tried, but Hannah shut him down. "Don't lie, Ryan. I've got your emails, Carter's funds, Caymans by Monday. Sound familiar?" Claire's eyes darted to Ryan, then to me, like a cornered animal. "Michael, I can explain," she started, her voice shaking but still trying to weave that old charm. I held up my phone, the camera app open, showing the live feed of them in my office. "Explain this, Claire. You and Ryan, in my house, stealing from me." The room erupted. Claire screamed that I'd invaded her privacy, turning the tables like she was the victim. Ryan jumped in, accusing Hannah of overreacting, claiming the venture was just a side project to help us all. Their lies collided, tripping over each other. Claire said the offshore account was for a surprise investment for our future. Ryan claimed it was his deal, and Claire was just consulting. Their stories didn't match, and the more they talked, the more they unraveled. I stayed quiet, recording it all on my phone, letting their panic bury them. Hannah, usually so gentle, was fierce, throwing Ryan's own words from his emails back at him. "You said secure the funds, Ryan. You think I'm stupid?" Then came the bombshell. Hannah pulled out a printout from Ryan's laptop, found during her earlier search, documents showing a shell company, Legacy Ventures, registered in both their names. It wasn't just about stealing my savings. They'd planned to use my IT contracts as collateral to secure a shady real estate deal, flipping properties through Ryan's connections at a firm off Park Boulevard. Claire had forged my signature on transfer forms, betting I'd never notice until it was too late. The betrayal wasn't just personal. It was a calculated heist, cooked up over late-night meetings in the Miller's backyard. I felt like I was watching my life collapse in slow motion. "Why, Claire?" I asked, my voice low, barely holding it together. Her mask slipped, and for a moment, I saw guilt flicker in her eyes. But then she doubled down, spitting venom. "You were always working, Michael. You left me alone in this perfect little cage." It was a dagger, twisting the blame onto me. Ryan, meanwhile, tried to bolt for the door, but Hannah blocked him, her teacher's calm replaced by fury. "You're not running from this," she said. "We had them trapped, their lies exposed, their plan in ruins." But the real shock? What we found in those documents next, it wasn't just about money, and it turned this confrontation into something none of us expected. The air in our Willow Bend home was thick with betrayal, my heart heavy with the truth. Claire, my wife, and Ryan, our neighbor, weren't just cheating. They plotted to steal my IT business, funneling funds through a shell company called Legacy Ventures. Hannah and I stood united, our trap exposing their scheme to use my contracts for a shady real estate deal. But the confrontation revealed something even darker, a twist that left us all reeling. As Claire and Ryan's excuses fell apart, Hannah dropped the final bombshell. Among Ryan's emails, she'd found one he hadn't deleted, sent to a lawyer in Dallas. A draft plan to sell our house, mine and Claire's, without my consent. Claire had been working with a shady notary, using her access to our joint accounts to forge my signature on a power of attorney document. They planned to list our colonial on the cul-de-sac through Ryan's real estate contacts, pocketing the proceeds while I was away at my fake conference. The house, our home, where we'd hosted barbecues at Russell Creek Park and planned our future, was just another piece of their scam. Claire's face when Hannah read the email aloud. She didn't even try to deny it. "You were going to take everything," I said, my voice breaking, the pain raw. The fallout was swift. I called my lawyer from the Capitol Grill the next morning, where I sat nursing a coffee, staring out at Legacy Drive. The bank transfer was frozen, thanks to my alerts, and the forged documents were enough to start legal action. Claire moved out that week, crashing with a friend in Dallas, her charm replaced by a cold silence. Ryan tried to play the victim, but Hannah was done. She filed for divorce, armed with the emails and footage. The neighborhood buzzed. Whispers spread at places like Mudleaf Coffee, where folks suddenly remembered Ryan's late-night meetings and Claire's client dinners. Plano's perfect facade had cracked. But the real twist? While digging through the Legacy Ventures papers, Hannah found a second set of plans. Ryan and Claire had been working with a third party, someone high up in a Dallas real estate firm, to launder the money through fake property flips. That person, Ryan's boss, who'd been at our block parties, shaking hands like a saint. I turned the evidence over to the authorities, and last I heard, they were investigating. It wasn't just personal anymore. It was criminal. Hannah and I stayed friends, meeting for coffee at 1418 Coffee House to process the wreckage. She was stronger than I'd ever realized, a quiet warrior who'd lost as much as I had but refused to break. Our talks weren't about romance, just two people who'd survived a storm, finding solace in shared scars. I sold the house eventually, moving to a condo near the shops at Legacy, needing a fresh start. The betrayal stung, but it taught me something. The worst lies don't come from strangers. They come from the people you trust, right through the wall. And now, I'm through that wall, living next to someone who knows my truth. Hannah, my friend, my ally. Life's not perfect, but it's honest, and that's enough for now.